Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Legend Caller Squad podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Payton, aka the Teacher of Finances. I missed out last week on a podcast episode. There was a whole lot of different things going on, and I missed out. But I'm here today. It's Monday morning, and I really wanted to give you guys some food for thought and just get your week started off to the right on the right foot. We went to some weddings this weekend, and I feel like this kind of ties into what I want to talk about today. So, today I want to talk about fear and how fear can be such a paralyzing emotion that we have in life. I mean, think about if you are married. Think about all the different things that went through your head. We had two weddings we went to, and I was just kind of thinking about it this morning. Like when you're getting married, there's a lot of things. Like as a woman, you don't want to trip walking down the aisle. You don't want to stumble on your words. You don't want to drop the ring whenever you're putting it on your fiance, right? There's a lot of fear and things that you're worried about. You're worried about failure. You're worried that what happens if I get to the altar and my significant other or future significant other decides to run. You don't hear that as often anymore, but there's all those different things that you have in your head. What is going to go wrong? And so I want to talk about how you can overcome these fears, how you can address the doubts, and how you can build confidence in making choices that shape your life. And of course, the wedding thing, that's a whole different situation. But even in the aspects of when someone is preparing to propose, that's scary because what if they say no? I mean, ideally, you think that they're going to say yes, but what if they say no? So there's all these fears and emotions that go on in different choices that we make in life. Sometimes it's in a business, sometimes it's changing our jobs or changing our career. Maybe it's going back to school, maybe it's doing something completely different that you've never done before, or it could just be as simple as meeting somebody for the first time. But fear can be a powerful force, but it doesn't have to control our decisions. So fear is a universal emotion, and it's essential to understand the nature of that emotion. Typically, it's going to arise when we face uncertainties or the unknowns and all the different things that we're going through in life. And so, when we experience change and even setbacks, the first instinct that we get is fear. And so, we have to recognize that this is a normal response, but we can address it more effectively to transform our life in the way that we want it to transform. And if we're not aware of the emotions that fear brings, then it's easy to fall into the cracks and lose sight of what opportunities are actually coming to us after the fact of fear. So when we have new opportunities that come, in front of us and we are trying to decide, should we make this decision? Should we say yes? Should we say no? There's always going to be that fear of what if? What if we fail? What if we are rejected? What if it doesn't work as planned? And so we have to start by identifying your fears. The first step is just overcoming it by identifying it and understanding what is it that you're afraid of. We experience fear from a very young age. We experience it in school. When we're kids, we're confident, we believe in ourselves, we're ready to face the world, right? But then what happens? There's other kids that come along, and then they tell us that we're not capable of that. They don't pick us on their team. We're the last one to get picked on the team on the reset or on the playground. Maybe there's even teachers that children have experienced that told them you're not capable of that. And unfortunately, there are teachers out there that do that. And it makes me sad because it's not really right to do that to children. But at the end of the day, that's where we really start to learn what that feeling of fear is. And so we really have to identify it and understand, what is it that we're afraid of? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of rejection? Is it fear of the unknown? Or is it fear of maybe you've had something happen in your past and you're scared that that's going to happen again? But majority of the time, fear is going to be based on rejection and failure. And like I said, it starts at a very young age and it triggers this emotion in our body and in our mind. And after we have that emotion and that feeling, it never goes away. And so we always have that one time it happened like this. And this is what it made me feel like. I don't want to go through that experience again. So that's why this episode is super important, because facing it and understanding that there's a way that you can conquer that and there's a way that you can actually grow from it is massive into changing your life and transforming your life to be the best version of you. So it's natural for us to get scared when we have those thoughts of failing or being rejected. So first you got to start by analyzing your situation. And like I mentioned before, decide exactly what it is that's causing you to be scared of moving forward in your life. Then after that, after you've identified it, Now it's time for you to grow. Now it's time for you to step out of that comfort zone and face the idea and understand that it's going to be okay. And I'm preaching this because there's things I'm going through in my life right now that I just don't know what. I don't know what and how and where. And I have an idea, and it's probably going to be the right idea, but at the end of the day, it's scary. It scares me to do that. It scares me because I could possibly be rejected. I'm going to get rejected, and the ideas that I have going through my mind and what I want to do, and that's okay, because from that one rejection, I'm going to learn from what should I say to the next place that I go, or the next thing that I do, or how should I address the next situation. So rejection and fear help us grow. They build grit. They teach us what things we need to do better in our life. And by pinpointing those specific fears, you can start to address them. And so let's talk about how fears and decision makings intertwine together. So fear significantly impacts our decision making skills because, like I mentioned, so many times we are so focused on the fact of it's scary. I don't like the feelings that it causes. So therefore, we don't move forward in that decision making process because we are so tied up in the feelings that come with it. So we may avoid making choices altogether to steer clear of that potential discomfort. Maybe we want to start a new business or get a better job. It's within you, but first you have to face that fear of rejection and failure. If rejection happens, just keep pushing forward. Likely it wasn't God's plan for you, and that's okay. There's a lot of times that doors open and close and we don't understand. I'm going to give you a real quick example. A few years ago, before I quit teaching, I applied for a job here in my area at Region 9, and it was a behavior interventionist position, and I was dead set that was the job I needed. I was focusing on autism interventions, which is where what my master's degree specializes in. And I put so much effort, put so much time in the interview process and the presentation that I had to give. I did so many things in that particular area. And I just knew that was going to be the opportunity for us. That was going to be the door that we needed for our family to move forward in life. And guess what? I didn't get the job. They didn't hire anybody at that time. They decided to move on and just wait and hire either at Christmas or something because of the way that the contracts were already in place and so many different things. And I didn't get the job essentially. That was very difficult for me because I was in my mind and in my heart, I knew that was where I needed to be or where I thought I needed to be. But obviously, God had bigger plans and He had different things that He wanted to happen, and that's not where He wanted me to be at the time. And so it can be very, very difficult for us to understand. And it can and when we go through those situations, what happens is now we're not wanting to go ahead and try again in a different area or maybe try again for a different position because we got rejected. And that didn't feel good. So we have to start confronting our fear head on. Confronting means acknowledging and embracing it as part of the journey in life. Accepting that fear is just an emotion of our life is our first step to growing as individuals. Start journaling your fears. Write down the things that scare you. And then in a few weeks or a few months, go back and read it again. Read them to yourself. And you are going to be surprised at how many times that at one point in time you were so worried or so scared about something, but then now where you're at, fast forward, it doesn't bother you anymore. You faced it, you moved on. Or it could work the other way. Maybe you were so scared of that particular situation, or fear was, controlling so much of your life at that point in time. And now here you are, fast forward, and you're still stuck in that rut. And so that's where you really have to make that decision of how am I going to overcome these emotions and how am I going to keep growing so I can grow as an individual and grow my mindset and grow my future for my family or my life or whatever it is that you're trying to do. So positive thinking is everything when it comes to fear. Positive thinking can be the potential tool in combating your fears. So one thing that you can do is self affirmations. Build yourself up. I've said this to you guys so many times. If you've ever listened to anything that I've put out there, if you've listened to me a couple times, you've probably heard me say self affirmations. You have to build yourself up in order for other people to believe in you. And I'm going to say it again. You must believe in yourself before other people will believe in you. I struggle with this. Personally, I struggle with this. Colton tells me all the time, I don't know why you feel the way you feel about yourself. Like, you are more than capable of doing so many things. Like, you are powerful, you're amazing, you can do these things. But it has to come from within. It's easy to have somebody else that's believing in you, but you have to believe in you. And this is something that I work on myself every day. And it's very easy to fall backwards in this particular area of self affirmations and believing in yourself and self confidence, because you can wake up one morning and get your kids and getting your kids ready for school, and it feels like the whole morning is just a complete mess and that you just did so many things wrong that morning. And so then you slip back down into your mind, and then you're thinking, oh my gosh, I failed at this morning, or I didn't do this right, or this is going wrong, or that's going wrong. And there's so many negative emotions that can take place in that moment. And unfortunately, negative it weighs so much more than positive most of the time in our life. And it's sad. And it really bothers me that it is that way. But so many times we get so wrapped up in the negative emotions that are happening and the negative feelings we're going through that we forget about the positive. And so if you practice those positive affirmations all the time, then when you notice those negative feelings are starting to overtake your day or your life or the moment that you're in, you can remind yourself that, hey, when I'm positive, or when I'm feeling positive, or when I'm talking positive to myself, I notice a different energy coming out of my body. Start visualizing where you want to be in life. What do you want to do differently? What type of car do you want to drive? What does it feel like to live in the moment that you keep dreaming about? Maybe you have a dream, but you just don't know where to start. So, what does it feel like? What's it going to feel like to get there? Prepare yourself visually. Have it in your head and your mind to know that these are going to be the types of things I'm likely going to go through. Is it going to go exactly like that? No, of course not. We know it's not going to go exactly as you plan it out, but at least if you have it in your mind, in your head, and you have an idea of where you're going and what you're doing, then it's going to be a little bit less culture shock when you get there, right? So think about those minutes and seconds of the days of where you want to be in life, or where you want to be, or what you want to do, or whatever it is that you want to change about your particular circumstances right now. How's it going to be different, and how's it going to feel? How's it going to look? How's it going to smell? What are you going to be doing? Picture yourself in those moments. I follow two people, Jessie Lee Ward, of course, she's passed on now, rest in peace, sweet angel. And then of course Trent Shelton, and both of them talk about the different building blocks and steps that they've been through in their life, and that they had gone through in their journey of their careers. And people will ask them, well, what's it feel like whenever you're speaking in other country? What does it feel like? And they both said, like, I already knew what it was going to feel like because I visualized it for so long. Like, is it a shock that you're here? No, it's really not a shock that I'm there, because I've already gone through it. I've already played it out in my head. I've already done everything, and I've already been in the moment. So no, it's really not a shock to me. I knew it was going to happen. And so that's how we have to really start facing and addressing our life and being in the moments of our life. So that way, whenever we're moving and growing and we're making those changes and advancements in life, it's not as much of a culture shock for you because you already visualized it. It makes it feel like it's easier to reach and get there. So these two strategies will really allow for you to transfer your mind and gain confidence in yourself. And building confidence is a vaccine to fear. It's just like going to the doctor and getting that vaccine for that sickness that's going around, right? Like the flu, it's the same thing. So it's like the vaccine. So confidence essentially allows your mind to have clear thoughts and emotions. When you're confident in yourself, you're no longer worried about who's going to reject you and what you're going to fail at, because now you know I am capable. Maybe they don't like me, but somebody else will. Fear's not going to go away overnight, though. It's likely going to linger. It's going to stick around. The difference is sometimes it's in the forefront of our brain, and other times it's in the back of our brain. Just depends on where we're at in life. But when you're consistent in understanding it's part of life and part of the journey, it slowly begins to put itself in the back of your brain, and then it's just stored away for a time. Is fear ever going to go away? Absolutely not. It's going to come and go as changes take place in your life. But being persistent and being aware of that emotion, it's going to start to become less of an issue. So you have to be persistent and consistent in fighting it. And then eventually it's going to, slowly fade away. But fear is a powerful force, but it does not have to dictate our choices. So, understanding the nature and identifying our specific fears and using those strategies to confront them can truly build confidence to navigate the different life crossroads that we come about. So, thank you for listening. I hope this was powerful. I look forward to hearing your feedback. If you love this episode, please share it in your stories. Tag me in it so I know that you liked it. Give me 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to. I went ahead and did a Facebook Live with this today because I felt like it was powerful and I wanted to put in multiple areas. But please give me feedback. Let me know what you thought. If it was powerful, give me a hashtag powerful in the comments. And I look forward to bringing you another one here in a few days. But until then, remember that fear is just a part of our life journey and it does not have to be the captain of the ship. You're the driver of your ship. You get to control your life. Just depends on how you navigate those waters. So thank you and have a happy Monday.